And good morning to you. I'm Gio Benitez. We are following breaking news right now. Sources telling ABC News that 2 Minnesota state lawmakers have been shot in what law enforcement officials say was a targeted incident. Let's get right on the phone now with ABC News chief investigative reporter Josh Margolin. Josh, you've been following this all morning long. What do we know right now?
Gio, good morning. It's a very, very serious situation just north of Minneapolis in the Hennepin County suburbs, highly populated area. We have a former Speaker of the State House and a state senator, both Democrats. Not saying that party has anything to do with it at all at this point, but both are Democrats. Apparently, they were in their separate homes near each other, and allegedly they were shot by the same perpetrator. Perpetrator is now on the run. The injuries are serious, grave. It's a very serious situation. The governor is on site, as is the FBI.
And I know that you're learning that the FBI is now involved. We believe at this point that the shooter was impersonating law enforcement? Yes, that is believed to be what happened. The shooter was definitely apparently wearing some sort of tactical gear and reported to be looking like impersonating law enforcement. That could ultimately not be the case when they finally get a hold of the shooter. But part of this is they wanted to alert the local population. This is somebody who needs to be considered very, very dangerous.
Now we do have confirmation of who the person that police are looking for in connection with the shooting of these state lawmakers. And we're now able to confirm that police are looking for Vance Bolter, born in 1967 in the state of Minnesota. Maggie Vespa, you have more on this.
Yeah, Jose, this just into NBC News, according to 3 people familiar with the investigation. Vance Bolter, a 57-year-old man from Minnesota, is the person authorities are now looking for in connection with these 2, what they're calling politically motivated, politically targeted shootings in the Minneapolis area earlier this morning. And that name, Vance Bolter, spelling Bolter. Again, that's according to 3 people familiar. And remember, this is the guy who they say showed up at these 2 homes. And you're seeing Senator Hoffman's home from earlier this morning with those bullet holes in the front door, that chilling video from our affiliate on the ground. This is the guy who they say showed up at these 2 homes starting around 3:30 this morning. Dressed as a police officer, wearing that blue police officer shirt, that tactical vest, that utility belt with a dark-colored SUV. It looked like one a police officer might be driving, with lights and sirens on the top. In other words, authorities saying completely impersonating an officer of the law, knocking on their door early in the morning of these 2 Democratic lawmakers in the state of Minnesota. And they say targeting both of them, ambushing them with gunfire, shooting each lawmaker, including Senator Hoffman, and Melissa Hortman, Representative Hortman and her husband Mark, shooting each lawmaker and their spouses. Representative Hortman and her husband both passing away, killed during this shooting. Senator Hoffman and his wife both taken to a local hospital for surgery. Authorities hopeful, officials hopeful that they'll pull through. They have so far survived. But this is a major update now confirmed by 3 people familiar with the investigation to NBC News that Vance Bolter, they say, is the suspected shooter who they believe ditched that SUV, took off on foot, and is now at large in the suburban Minneapolis area with this massive, you can see that SUV there being towed away, with this massive manhunt underway.
And to be clear, they have his name, but he's not in custody. He's still on the loose, correct?
At this hour, what we've been told is, and what we're going on, is that they are still looking for this individual.
Do we know anything about him?
I think we're trying to get as much information as we can. I think authorities have a head start in that regard. And obviously, Stephanie, that goes to motive, right? Even though there's this list, even though this person appeared to use a law enforcement type uniform to do this, all these pieces are going to start to become more apparent as this investigation goes forward. You have the processing of the crime scene. You have the individual being backgrounded as we speak. And then there's all the other aspects in terms of family, friends, co-workers that might speak to motive. And as we know, certain pieces may come out, but that doesn't necessarily paint a very clear picture in the immediate aftermath of something like this.
The first shooting happened just after 2 a.m. on Saturday at the Champlin home of State Senator John Hoffman, a Democrat who has served in the Minnesota Senate since 2013. Hoffman suffered at least 2 gunshot wounds, while his wife Yvette was shot 3 times. A second shooting happened a few miles south, near the Edinburgh Golf Course in Brooklyn Park, at the home of State Representative Melissa Hortman, who has served in the House since 2005. She's also the Democratic leader in the Minnesota House. Both Hortman and her husband Mark were shot. There is currently no official word on the conditions of the victims. Brooklyn Park police said in an emergency alert sent to residents at 5:30 a.m. Suspect is white male, brown hair, wearing black body armor over blue shirt and blue pants, and may misrepresent himself as law enforcement. A second emergency alert sent at 7 a.m. confirmed that the suspect is dressed like a police officer. Do not approach and do not answer door unless 2 officers approach together. Call 911 to verify officer identity first.
Our state lost a great leader, and I lost the dearest of friends. Speaker Hortman was someone who served the people of Minnesota with grace, compassion, humor, and a sense of service. She was a formidable public servant, a fixture and a giant in Minnesota. She woke up every day determined to make this state a better place. She is irreplaceable, and we've been missed by so many. Minnesota's thoughts and prayers are with her family, her loved ones, her children, and her parents. My prayers also go out to State Senator John Hoffman and his wife Yvette, who were each shot multiple times. The Hoffmans are out of surgery at this time and receiving care, and we are cautiously optimistic they will survive this assassination attempt. This was an act of targeted political violence. Peaceful discourse is the foundation of our democracy. We don't settle our differences with violence or at gunpoint. In the state of Minnesota, and as recently as last week, in the most closely divided state legislature in the country, we sat down, we worked things out, we debated, we shook hands and compromised, and we served the state of Minnesota together. We proved that it's possible, even in these politically charged times, to find compromise and adhere to the principles of democracy and civil discourse.